This is what we're going to talk about. We could all use a little attitude adjustment from time to time.
Oh man, could we ever? I could use one right now, in fact. Can't you? Because I can, my goodness.
What do you need an attitude adjustment for today?
Well, do you want the list? Because it's long.
Yeah, I want the list.
Okay, well,
Oh, boy.
first up, I've had a cold for over a week and I'm very tired of blowing my nose. Second up, I'm having some problems with eczema, like right by my eye. And so I can't even wear any makeup today because it's bugging me so much. Thirdly, no, that's all. No, I could keep going. But isn't that just the point? Like,
That
it
is the
doesn't
point.
matter what's going on. We can always find something to complain about. I know I can.
I know, like complaining just seems to be a way of life. And like, here's a news flash. It's supposed to be the opposite of that. We're supposed to be grateful and thankful, and that is supposed to be the way of life. Mm-hmm. And today in Canada, where we are, it is Thanksgiving Monday. So if you're in the States, it's Thanksgiving for you too.
No, their Thanksgiving's not for like a whole nother month.
Oh, that's right.
Theirs is like with Black Friday.
You're with Christmas.
And Christmas. Ours is so early compared to yours. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, you're way off your...
Okay, I'm thinking about somebody else. It's not your Thanksgiving, but you still could use an attitude adjustment sometimes.
And thinking about being grateful, right? That's the whole key, is that when we need an attitude check or an attitude adjustment, I'm going to say like 10 times out of 10 is the answer.
Yeah. If we're complaining and grumbling and we just have this list of negativity going on in our minds, we need that attitude adjustment. And starting to be thankful, starting to be grateful is a great way to change it up.
But sometimes it's really hard to break through the crap in your head.
It is.
Right? Like when you're feeling down, when you're feeling negative, when you're feeling like everything is annoying or hard or stressful or overwhelming, it's really hard sometimes to know where to start with, like get off the diving board, get on the grateful train, right? Like it's sometimes hard to jump on. And then once we're on, it's like things get rolling. But sometimes it's like everything inside of us just is like, I don't want to be grateful right now.
And then someone says, you need to have an attitude adjustment. And you're like, don't talk to me about that right now.
Yeah, which actually reminds me of my dad. And one of his famous lines is, be encouraged. When any of us growing up or even now as adult children, when any of us are discouraged or frustrated about something, he always says, be encouraged. And it is such a good line, and yet sometimes in the moment it's like
aggravating.
I don't want to be encouraged right now. I'm frustrated, or I'm annoyed, or and
really what that's saying is you want to stay stuck in the negativity, in the pity pot, so to speak. And that's not how we're called to live. We don't want someone telling us to be encouraged at that moment, but it is actually what we need to do for ourselves.
Yeah.
We need to encourage ourselves, and we need to, it's like flipping the switch, turning the switch on and off, and actually doing that sometimes, just like having that literal thing to do is what we need to have that attitude adjustment. Or maybe it's going outside for a quick 5-minute walk. Maybe it's doing some jumping jacks just to change the energy in our body. But we have to start with something. We have to have that adjustment.
Yeah.
And we all don't like that.
No. And I think the first key, we talk about this so often, or so often comes back to this, is we don't want to because there's a rebellious spirit inside of us that's like, no, I'm mad right now, or I'm frustrated right now, and I want to stay frustrated right now. And
I want to throw something, or I want to kick the door, or I want to do something.
Yeah, or I just want to be grouchy. And that's that rebelliousness inside of us that sometimes just tries to take over, and it's hard to overcome that sometimes, and it's hard to start with the gratitude, and yet we all know, or with going for a walk, it's all the things we don't want to do that are what's going to help us.
I know.
But why is that? Man, it's frustrating.
So how do
That's frustrating.
Yeah, that is frustrating. So how do we change it up? Because we know the devil wants to keep us there. We know that that's where he wants us, to keep us stuck, to keep us grouchy, to keep us complaining. He doesn't want us to be grateful and thankful.
Yeah, because we're not really spreading salt and light when we're like that, are we?
No.
I'm not. I know I'm not.
No.
I know when I'm in that frame of mind, I'm like a big black cloud, not spreading salt and light.
So how do we change it up? Well, we were talking about a lot of gratefulness, and we had a family dinner yesterday because it is our Canadian Thanksgiving.
And we're having another one today.
Yeah. But what's really cool about it is, as a family, and there was 13 of us, we went around the circle multiple times, not just once. Often we just do it once. Yesterday we did it at least 3 times. And we said so many things that we were grateful for. And it was so encouraging to hear not only adults, but children getting involved in this, about what they're thankful for. And as simple as, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for cousins. I'm grateful to be able to spend time with my little cousins. What a wonderful thing to hear. And, the first point on our list is to have gratitude for loved ones and support. So if you have a loving family, if you have a relationship that is a good relationship with your family, boy, you better not take it for granted.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people who do not have that. So tell someone in your family today that you're grateful for them, that you're thankful for them, and that you just so appreciate having their support.
Yeah, exactly. Because, well, it's like you said, a lot of people don't have that and would give their right arm for that.
Exactly.
When we have that, it's actually our verse today is 1 Samuel 12:24, and it says, "But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. Consider what great things he has done for you." And so, there's a lot of things that we can focus on that he's done for us. And if you look back over your life, I often am reminded of this song, I can't think what it's called right now, but it talks about how he's been faithful through generations.
Yeah.
And he has been. And maybe you're the first generation in your family to serve God, but he's going to continue to be faithful for generations going forward because of your decision. And he's been faithful through generations. And I can look back at my family history, and you can look back at further in your family history, and he has been faithful through generations. And that right there even is something to just stand in awe of.
That's right.
Because even I think, my mom grew up in a Christian home, my dad didn't. But my dad had a grandma who prayed for him. And so he has been faithful through generations. And had all of these things not happened the way they happened, I wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't be here today. It's just amazing if you actually stop to think about that one thing alone.
So that is something to highlight. It's the value of relationships. If you can go back and see the blessings that God has blessed you with, that is something, like you said, to stand in awe of, to be so grateful for. And I think we take that for granted so easily. We slough it off and just go, well, but that's family. No, God has blessed you with family. You are highly favored with that blessing.
And even if you don't have that, you're still highly favored and blessed.
That's
Maybe
right.
just in other ways.
And you still have the family of God, which is a different family, which is another thing to be grateful for.
Or think about your parents. So my grandparents, that's not very many generations ago, made a decision to leave an oppressive church that wasn't actually preaching the gospel to seek one that was. Those decisions that our heritage, from our heritage, those are things to be grateful for.
And they changed the trajectory of my life and your life. So those decisions mattered. So whatever you're thinking about today, your decisions matter for the generations to come.
Yeah, totally.
It's so important. And that's why we say so often, every decision matters. It's not just about you. It's about those around you, because you're being watched. And the decisions you make today are going to affect those coming after you.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a little bit different than our next point, but our next point is to reflect on the year's journey. So you can reflect on the year, but you can reflect a lot further back. And the prayers of our ancestors, they matter. And so your prayers today matter for the future generations.
So be praying for your family, be praying for your friends and their children, be praying for those that God puts on your heart to pray for.
Well, and prayer is a little bit different than gratitude, but prayer is also another really good way to have an attitude check.
Oh, yeah.
Probably an even better one than gratitude, right? Because Yeah.
Well, once we are grateful, we just kind of have a different heart posture, and then we can go into prayer in a, I'm going to say, with more thanksgiving, and our prayers then are probably just so much deeper.
But even if you think like about this verse, 1 Samuel 12:24, consider what great things he has done for you. Like think about the last year. Consider what he has done for you. Has he brought you through some financial struggles? Probably, because inflation is wild.
That's right.
Right? Like even just think about that one piece. Have you had food to eat? Have you had a roof over your head?
Has someone encouraged you? Have you been encouraged? Have you
Has somebody bought you a coffee in the drive-through? Like
that's right. Or has somebody blessed you with a need that like you really needed something and someone blessed you with that need? Those are all things to think about over the last year, because when we reflect, it's almost like there's this thing going on in our mind, but it just blesses us again.
Yeah. And
that's why it's so important to hear testimonies.
Yeah. Well, and it just reminds me too of God didn't bring you this far to drop you off here. And so if you look back through your life, you can see how he has carried you through some pretty challenging times, because we all have challenging times.
And we've had challenging times this last year too. God has brought us through. You've probably been on mountaintops. You've probably been in low valleys, because that's the ebb and flow of life. But through it all, God has brought you this far. And it's like you just said, he didn't bring us this far to leave us.
No, exactly. So the other thing we can do if we need that attitude adjustment is to think about the future, have hope for the future. And another verse that is, a very popular one, and we talk about it quite often too, is Jeremiah 29:11. For he knows the plans he has for us, plans to prosper us and not to harm us, plans to give us a hope and a future, right? He is going to give us a future filled with hope. And so that right there is something to be grateful for. And that doesn't mean we won't have hard times. That doesn't mean we won't have challenges, because the Bible also says in this world we will have trouble. But we know that we can rely on a God who's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
And because of that, we have this faith that can be just like multiplied. God can bless us and give us, like we can improve our faith if there is such a thing. But when we hear of these good things and when we are grateful, our faith grows. Faith looks ahead into the future. Like we have this future of hope because of Jesus. And in fact, that just makes me think about something going on in our life right now. A friend of ours, he's not well, and he's not a believer yet. And I have hope that he is going to get saved very soon. My husband, he doesn't have long left in this world. And my husband sent this note this morning, and we were praying over this note, and it just gives me hope for the future for this friend of ours, because I know that God can work through this text message that my husband sent to him. And even in that, like it's a hardship, it's a journey that he's going through that's very difficult. But even in that, we can find something to be thankful for and something to be grateful for. My husband asked if he would be willing to read something that he was going to text him. And he said yes, he would be open to it. So even in that, I'm so grateful that he is willing to read something that is going to tell him and show him the way to accept Jesus. Like that gives me hope for today and for tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and really in that, if we do all we can do, we have to leave the rest up to the Holy Spirit, because that's the Holy Spirit's job, not ours.
Yeah.
And so,
but it just changes, like that attitude adjustment. It's like when someone's going through a valley, and then here am I'm healthy and I have so much to be thankful for. Why would I be walking around with a storm cloud and like a storm cloud? I can't do that. I shouldn't do that. And I need to have that attitude adjustment if that's me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of sums up what we wanted to talk about today, is just making sure that we are having that attitude check, that heart check, because our attitude matters. And I tell my kids that all the time. And yet somehow as adults, we seem to think that like we can walk around with whatever attitude we want.
Yeah.
All because of a little patch of eczema, right?
Yeah, we think it's our right to walk around being grouchy. No, it's not. If we are truly seeking to grow our faith, then we want to have that attitude adjustment, and that changes. Like it's a heart posture change, just that in itself.
And that doesn't mean that things aren't frustrating, and it's still okay to feel frustrated sometimes, but we
Don't
got to
stay
let it
there.
go, right?
Yeah.
And we got to carry on and think about things that are good and true and noble and righteous.
Amen.
Yeah. So there you go.
So happy Monday.
Happy not American Thanksgiving. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
It is our holiday here today. So we're going to go out and have a little bit of fun. Maybe it's going to be for going for a walk. Maybe it's going for a drive. Maybe it's we already went for a tea. And so what are you going to do today to make your Monday happy? Until
Find
next
something.
time. What are we saying?
I don't know. Good question.
Be thankful. Go out and write a list of something that you are grateful for
I know.
right now.
I've got one. I've got a new one. This one's
Okay.
one we've never done. Until next time, consider what great things he has done for you.
Love it.
See you next time.